Nothing pisses a man off more than a woman with standards.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Omaomi aka Petite Diva, and in this video we are discussing if women should date down. Now this video is inspired by a particular creator who came online to explain why she cannot date down. Now before we check out her reasoning, this is an unnecessary part of this video, but a lot of people have asked about my lip combo. A lot of people have complimented my lip combo, this particular lip combo, and I decided to finally share what I use to achieve this lip combo. So I have a video where I showed the products that I use, so I will leave the link in the comment section. And I also have an Amazon shop list where I put all the products that I use or the alternatives that you can get. So if you want to recreate this lip combination, or if you want to know what I use to achieve this lip combination, please check the comment section and check the video and the list. So now let's get back into the video.
Someone asked me recently what my thoughts were on dating outside of my social class, and I answered that I would quite literally never do that, and here's why. For the purpose of this question, I took social class to sort of mean like socioeconomic class, so my economic status, maybe around how much money I make, the social status, like perhaps the caliber of school that I went to and the spaces that I found myself in as a result, and the people I found myself surrounded by, and then also like the lifestyle I've created for myself that's a combination of like the economic status and the school and the spaces and all of that. I think you guys get how that fits together. It's important to note that I did not grow up with a lot of money. My father went to prison when I was 4 years old. During that time and all the time after, like my mom has been a public school teacher, so they don't make a lot of money. When we first moved to Atlanta, we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with 7 people sharing 1 bathroom. Like I literally shared the bottom bunk of a bunk bed with my second oldest brother, and then my oldest brother and my sister-in-law were on the top bunk of that bed. Okay, we were not a Jack and Jill family, okay? Money was not... we didn't have a lot of it. So knowing my circumstances, when I was like 12 years old, I made this vision board for myself. My mom actually found recently in her storage unit. I had basically carved out my entire life, like what I was gonna do in high school to make sure I could get into an Ivy League college, and what I was gonna do at that college to make sure I could get into a certain law school or buy a certain car and have a certain apartment or home. Like all of these things I had planned out, and I knew that because my family didn't have the same financial resources someone else's did or access to certain people to get me into doors, I had to open them myself. So that's what I did. I created an insane amount of opportunities for myself by literally putting my blood, sweat, and tears into everything I did. From the time that I was 12 years old until now, like 23, I was so intentional about every decision I made, whether it was not dating in high school or not drinking or prioritizing school or trying to get different scholarships. I did everything in my power to make sure that the life I was creating for myself while I was kind of stepping into the autonomy that I would have as a young adult, even as a teenager going into a young adult, being able to create the life I want to, that I was doing everything in my power to have something different than what I had growing up. And of course, I didn't have to do this. I didn't have to stay up all night applying to scholarships to earn over $500,000 to go to college. I didn't have to apply to Columbia and do all the things that is required to get into a school like that, but I wanted to because I wanted to have a certain life. Even when it comes to content, when I started making content, I was taking 19 credit hours. I was working 3 days a week in office at my internship, but then I was also working with a tech startup virtually, and then I also started doing content, and it was probably one of the hardest times in my life, but again, I knew that I wanted to set myself up for greatness, and that is what was required. So knowing that, understanding how much work I put into the person that I wanted to be and the life I wanted to have feels so unfair to me now, and also to my younger self who was just so forward thinking and like put so many things on the back burner to prioritize the life that I would have right now. For me to date someone who cannot give me the life that I've always wanted, like they can't match it. I don't even need you to give it to me because I've already gotten it for myself, but if you can't be right there with me, it's not fair to me to lower my standards or accept certain things that I knew I never wanted to, which is why I worked so hard on myself just so that I can be with you. And it is not lost on me the fact that a lot of guys my age are just not gonna have what I have, because I'm in a very unique position to make an insane amount of money for someone my age. And that's where the other part of the socioeconomic status comes in. I need to at least see that you have worked as hard as I have to put yourself into certain spaces, to open up certain doors for yourself, to go to certain schools or whatever it is, because you have this intrinsic ambition and drive, because you know that you also have your eyes set on the sort of lifestyle that I do, and that is what you're actively working towards every day. Not having that does not make you a bum. It doesn't make you undesirable. It doesn't make you an unattractive man or anything. It just makes you incompatible with me and the lifestyle that I want to have.
Now, this lady came online because I think some of her content involves talking about her dates, and she was asked if she would date down. Now, she explained why she cannot date down, and I felt like she made a lot of sense in explaining why she cannot date down. She talked about how her mindset has been since she was 12, all that she has done to achieve what she has achieved and get to where she was, and she felt like dating down is invalidating all that effort, and dating someone that does not understand the value of all that she has done will make all her effort look very nonsensical. So I understand what she meant and I understand her reasoning, but some people actually got offended with her reasoning with her video, and they were talking all sorts of things. Let's check out what people had to say about her talking about why she cannot date down.
Ladies, never date down, okay? Do not date a man who you're more successful than him, you have more money than him, you're better off in life than him. Do not date him, because you are going to be settling, and he is going to get jealous of you, and he's going to try to humble you by cheating on you, lying to you, disrespecting you. He's going to try to bring down your self-esteem. He's going to ruin your mental health. And when you walk away from that relationship, you're going to leave empty-handed. You're not going to have more money, a car, a house, nothing but heartache, mental illness, and you're going to need therapy. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
As a woman who has dated a lot of different kinds of men, I can confidently say all of these conversations around dating down and, you know, dating within your realm of success and all of those things, very important. And I don't disagree with them, but let me add to it. If that man don't love God, Jesus Christ, okay, let me be specific. If that man don't love Jesus Christ, it don't matter. It don't matter. I have learned that no matter what a man brings to the table, if he does not bring the Holy Spirit with him, the table will crumble. Okay? We won't have a table. The Bible literally says, what does it profit a man to gain? Matter of fact, Jesus Christ said this out of his mouth. What does it profit a man to gain the world but lose his soul? We have to think about what comes after this life, okay? All of the things that we've earned, all of our success, the money, the degrees, the lifestyle we've set up, the trips we go on, all of those things, great, love them. I am not against them, but we need to think beyond that.
What up, y'all? Let's talk about this conversation, this Clark conversation. It's a really interesting conversation, but I think there's a different perspective people aren't seeing, especially it's a lot of black women having this conversation. Number one, socioeconomic and race go hand in hand. You really can't separate the two. Especially in America, it's quite impossible to separate the two. Number two, the people that date within the higher socioeconomic status, they usually date and marry for certain reasons, which are resources and the access to things they can get, right? So if we were to reverse this conversation, if hardworking black men, wealthy and successful black men were to make these decisions and use the same rhetoric Clark was using and say they are only going to date within their socioeconomic status, we have to ask ourselves, would black women even be in the picture?
Date down if you want to date down, okay? Date up if you want to date up. I just think that we shouldn't force our expectations onto other people that are also having a dating experience. I think that Clark made a very good video about what it means to have expectations for yourself as someone who is dating. And everybody ran with it and acted like she was telling y'all what to do with your dating life. That's not what she was doing. She was simply stating what it is she will tolerate in her dating life. And I don't have too much to say about what you should do or what is the best route to take, because I think that everybody is different. But what I will say is that I have dated people from all walks of life, from all economic statuses, And what I focus on now is compatibility. And that is what Clark was talking about. She was talking about compatibility. And for her, compatibility looks like being on the same educational playing field, being on the same financial playing field. Only you can decide what is healthy for you. Only you can decide what makes sense for you. What's compatible for me might not be compatible for you. Me, what matters most is ambition and drive and financial expectations and lifestyle compatibility. I feel like a lot of people see other people talking about dating expectations or dating experiences, and then they automatically think that that's what's going to work for them. That's not how it works. That's all I had to say.
I found the dating down conversation to be kind of dangerous on here, but I really love how Clark has kind of broadened the conversation and also added nuance to it. I mean, historically, women have always been encouraged to marry either within their socioeconomic class or above it. I definitely think that some Black media has had some influence in trying to make women sort of feel guilty for wanting to marry within their socioeconomic class. Now, I do need to do some more research, but from what I've seen, it is showing that Black women are definitely marrying at a lesser rate than they were compared to the 1960s. I believe in the 1960s, Black women were much more likely than Black men to be married, whereas now it's about the same in terms of the percentages. But people have said that one of the main reasons that Black women are settling a lot later in life, or they're choosing not to get married at earlier ages, is because they are starting to out-earn Black men, and they're also starting to get a lot more qualified in terms of their degrees and things. And I think that's why it's so interesting what Clark said in terms of the amount of effort and work she's put into herself, and the fact that she doesn't want to settle for someone who hasn't done that kind of work and doesn't have that kind of ambition. As someone who's attended private school and had a lot of classmates that went to Russell Group unis, I can attest that even, obviously they're very prestigious universities, and I'm not trying to like dunk on that or anything, but the jobs that some of my friends from private school have now and what they're earning and what I'm earning as someone who didn't go to a Russell Group uni, I mean, but in terms of the lifestyle and the opportunities that someone that went to a Russell Group uni have compared to someone like myself who didn't go to a Russell Group uni, I wouldn't say that the Russell Group experience itself or the degree changes your career trajectory at all. And like someone else on my FYP mentioned, most of it is actually about the access you have through your network. And if you are already from a working class background, you're much likely to pick up those networks and connections, even if you do go to the same uni that, I don't know, Boris Johnson's kids go to whenever they're old enough. There's a barrel of those kids, so who knows? Definitely dated a man before who wasn't comfortable with the attention that I get, especially from someone who's starting to do really well in their influencer career, who's been working with more and more brands, thanks be to God, especially as my career progresses. I know what it feels like to just feel uncomfortable. Like, I remember having one conversation with him about money. It can be weird when you're starting to bypass a lot of the financial milestones that your parents reached when you were their age, and you're surpassing it earlier and quicker than they did. And in that same conversation, I remember speaking to him about how hard it is to turn down money, because, you know, not all money is good money. Especially, you know, if the brand isn't right or if they're lowballing you, etc. But for me, like, at the point where I'm at, thank God, in my job, like, the lowballing to me is like a lot of money to, you know, your layperson on the street. The way he started to clam up and get so just defensive and rude, like, he was just like, well, you're the one who said that you were getting burnt out. You're the one who said you were getting burnt out. So, duh, makes sense to reject that money. Like, he was being so rude to me. And for extra context, when we started dating, we were actually both doing very well. He was working for a really popular tech company, and I was doing really well. But as time progressed, I started to do very, very well in my career. Like, as an influencer, my platform basically doubled in the space of a year. So I think to him, that created some dysfunction. Very aware that he was projecting, and I just knew from then on, like, I was like, I'm never going to be treated like this again, and I'm never going to be spoken to like that again, especially off of something that I'm incredibly proud of making sure that the next person I'm with, that they have an incredible job that's like adjacent to mine or like in the same rooms as me, but they also have integrity, so that, you know, if in that season I'm doing better than they are, they can cheer me on. And I'm working on myself so that if they are doing better than me in a season, I can cheer them on as well.
As a person who has done the very thing that Clark says in her dating video that she will never do, I will say I wholeheartedly understand where she's coming from. I tried to get this across yesterday and I didn't do a good job, so I'm rephrasing and trying again. But I'm saying this, and this is so embarrassing, as a person who was once so down bad for a dude, I was splitting Waffle House dinners so consistently that one of the waitresses asked that man if he was ever going to just buy my dinner at Waffle House. And it's not just that he couldn't afford it, because there were times that was definitely true, but it's also that he didn't want to. He had no drive, and his drive did not match mine. Like at one point when I was in college dating this guy, I was working 4 jobs so that I could pay off my tuition by myself, so I could have opportunities for after graduation, and so that I could live the life I wanted to live. Meanwhile, he worked his one job sometimes, more often than not, was just chill playing the game, like just doing nothing. And I constantly felt like I had to drag him to success, like drag him to be where I was, and it was exhausting. And even more embarrassingly, I did that consistently in relationships I was in even after that for years, because I, like many other women, fell for that thing that love conquers all, that money is of no object, that we're a team, we're supposed to look out for each other, yada yada yada. And what happened is that not only was I holding myself back, but I was doing all of the work in these relationships for us to look anything that resembled happy and successful. And it can be exhausting to do that in relationships, and it almost always holds you back. Like every single time I get out of these relationships, like I thrive personally, emotionally, financially, like it gets so much better. And I understand that some people get stuck in the cycle of poverty, and that poverty is systemic, and that most people actually can't escape it. I think what people are missing in her video is that she knows that too, because she says like not everybody her age has what she has, but she wants somebody who is kind of where she is in life and has her work ethic. This isn't to say that people in poverty don't work incredibly hard, because they do, although realistically people in poverty aren't approaching her. She's saying that because of the lifestyle difference and because she worked really, really hard to have the life she wants, she doesn't want to give that up. And also, she won't be giving up for somebody who doesn't have her drive and determination and work ethic, like almost like separate thoughts. And as a person who has dated people in, under, and above her social class, but consistently meets people who don't have that determination and work ethic that I have, you spend a lot of time working backwards, going backwards, trying to drag someone up to where you are, and it holds you back. And I get it that she doesn't want to do that. In fact, she's smarter than me, because I was doing that at 23 and she's skipping it, and that is a beautiful thing.
So I'm sitting here getting ready for a gala, and literally I'm just thinking about the trending topic on my TikTok all week, which has been Clark and her dating preferences, her dating standards. And I don't normally do a side part, but I'm gonna do one tonight, but it's not done, so like don't come for me. Anyways, so one thing that I think is really interesting is how people are criticizing Clark's dating standards as a young woman who, she's explained her story. She has essentially built the life that she's always dreamed for herself. She's worked extremely hard for it. And I think one thing that I don't understand that's not computing in people's brain is the idea of being equally yoked. And I've just been ruminating on this my own self as someone who has essentially placed themselves in spaces that they've always envisioned or dreamed of being in. And for me, like, no one in my family ever grew up like going to galas or going to fancy events, but it's something that I always wanted for myself. So when I entered my career first as a journalist, I was like, okay, now I get to go to all these fancy events. I'm working, but I'm still there. And now that I've transitioned careers, I'm actually getting to attend the events as sponsors, because my job sponsors a lot of these events. So it's like, this is something that I've worked for myself, and I've noticed you can't force people to be where you are or to want what you want. So I've dated men who don't want to come, who don't see the value of being there, and I'm accepting now that, okay, those people aren't my partner because we don't have the same ideals, we don't have the same values. And not the value being the event itself, but being the type of person who gets to go out, who has a social life, who gets to network. Like, those are things that I like to do. And so it's therefore important to me to have a partner that, even if he doesn't love it, supports me and also does not mind going out with me in that way. Also, when we look at it through a Christian lens, it's kind of being equally yoked. So the analogy that the word uses, and that came to my mind when this topic was first brought up, is the ox and the donkey.
So if an ox and a donkey are yoked together, it is unequal because a donkey is stubborn. A donkey does not normally want to pull their weight. A donkey does what it wants to do. The ox, therefore, as the animal who is level-headed, the animal who is, kind of fit for the task, is now carrying most of the weight in that relationship. So whether that is spiritually, financially, lifestyle habits, I just think compatibility and assortative mating it just makes the most sense. It's biblical, it's using wisdom, and it's how we can ensure that even as we grow through purpose, that we're with someone who can grow alongside us, even if they aren't going in the same direction 100%, we have the same trajectory because we have the same values. So those are my 2 cents.
I've been meaning to make a video about this all week, but I just haven't had the time. But I really want to talk about Clark's video about refusing to date down because I wholeheartedly agree. And I've been talking about the importance of women having standards, of women building a life that they love for themselves, which inadvertently increases our standards since I started law school. I graduated law school in May with a JD and an LLM in sports and entertainment law. I turned 25 in June. I took the New York bar in July, and I just started my full-time job as a lawyer. Similar to what Clark said, I've been intentional about the life that I wanted to create for myself since I was 12 years old. And I actually have all of my goals written out from when I was 12. And every decision that I have made since then has been with the ulterior motive of creating my dream life. And I've been very open and honest about the fact that I made a deliberate decision to not seriously date for all of my higher education, basically. And people really have a hard time understanding that. They hear, oh, you're 25 and you haven't had a serious boyfriend. Intentionally so, yes. I chose to look at my early 20s as a prime opportunity to lay the foundation for my dream life. I used it as the time to be unapologetically selfish, or as I've seen Clark call it on her account, my white couch era. I, too, had a white couch in my Miami apartment while I was in law school. Not only does this raise your standards, not only does this set you up with an amazing foundation to achieve the dreams that you have set for yourself, but it also gives you time to learn and develop both spiritually, mentally, and emotionally as a woman. And once you've spent the time doing that, I absolutely will not be dating down. And she assessed it from just a socioeconomic status, which I completely agree. I have those same sentiments surrounding that area of dating down. But I will take it a step further and also say that I will not date down emotionally, mentally, spiritually, none of that.
Nothing pisses a man off more than a woman with standards. Clark posted a video recently where she basically said that she will not date anyone who is not within her socioeconomic status and has her same level of ambition and drive. She said she's worked so hard for the life that she currently has. She's been working at it since she was a small child who didn't really have much. Her family growing up didn't have a lot of money, and she worked so hard to make sure that she could, go to an Ivy League school and go to one of the best law schools and, make a lot of money. And she likes to date people within that same, status as her because she worked so hard for it. And she also wants a man who is really hardworking. So many people were in her comment section, and a lot of people made stitches to the video basically saying that she was ridiculous. Some people were calling her shallow, saying that, not everything is about money. But the confusing part for me is that a lot of men who stitched the video are not even the caliber of men that she's looking for. Why are you so angry? If the glove don't fit, you must acquit.
Dating down. This side, so Clark's video about dating down has been going viral. First things first, encouraging young women to have high standards is never a bad thing. And it gives me comfort, hope in the world that we have people like Clark disseminating positive information to the youth. I just think it says a lot when we're vilifying young women for having high standards. And these are young women that are highly intelligent, highly educated, high earners. They're like the dream woman. Well, many people's dream woman. I think it's quite rational and logical that such a woman should be picky about her mate. If you don't see the logic in that, then God help you. you. We're going to keep this light and easy where possible because I know it's a topic that triggers people. And for me, there's two sets of people that are going to be triggered in this conversation. One, women that are standing 2 toes on their questionable boundary standards when it comes to men. Or number two, the very men in question. The men who are essentially not deemed desirable by these high-earning, highly educated women. Another thing that I want to stress, socioeconomic status does not go hand in hand with the value of a person. Even for me, this whole classes thing, whenever I hear the term, it's kind of redundant. It's like, this is essentially how the world works. I didn't ask for it to be made that way, these power plays to be at play. It's just the way it is. Socioeconomic status can be a positive or a negative indicator for things like maternal health, childhood health, life expectancy. The list really goes on. It doesn't make it right, but these are the observations of the world. And so, as a woman, when you are being selective about who you're mating with, who you're procreating with, I think it's very much rational to want the best for yourself, to give your children the best opportunity, the best start at life. Again, are we vilifying women for that? There's an overemphasis on my heart, my feelings, love, all very important, don't get it twisted. However, it reminds me of that Love is Blind episode where one of the contestants was basically saying, oh, my head is saying one thing, but my heart is saying another. Women, and it is typically women if I'm being honest with you, use emotions to legitimize stupid decisions.
Watched Clark's video on dating down, and I have to say I agree. Even though in the UK we look at class very differently, like even if you earn like so much money, millions and millions of pounds, you won't be able to transgress your class. Like you can do like working class to middle, but from middle to upper class is for like aristocrats, royal family, that type of thing, old money vibes basically. Whereas I think in the US it's more like what you earn and the school you go to. I didn't even really think about my dating preferences before, but now that I really sit down and think about it, I definitely would want to date someone who went to a Russell Group university. It's like the top 13 research universities basically in the UK. So it's like Oxford, Cambridge, LSE, Imperial. It's the equivalent of an Ivy League university. And I personally went to 2 Russell Group universities. I would only want to date someone who also went to Russell Group. And that's just because I feel like the level of education that you get in those places is obviously more intense, more rigorous, and you leave with a degree that is more widely known. And that's like a big reason why people even go to Russell Group. As women, we're always conditioned to take less and be grateful for less and to date down. Like I personally do not believe that you should be dating down. A lot of the women I know are so successful, they're running their own businesses, half of you guys are entrepreneurs, you do crazy shit, and I feel like we should not be made to feel like we have to accept a person who does not also have those same values, like those same ethics in life. Like they're a go-getter, they want to stand up and do things for themselves, and they value their education. I want my child, if I do have one, to go to a Russell Group institution or Ivy League. Like education is very, very important to me. My mom has always drilled that into me, and I grew up in a single parent home. That was in many ways like the way to elevate yourself, like get a good education. Even now, going to LSE has actually helped me so much in my career. So I just feel like I would want another partner that understands the importance of like really, really, really trying your best and going to somewhere where you feel like you're going to maximize your potential in life.
Now, quite a lot of people understand where she's coming from. Some don't understand. Now, in my own opinion, the people that don't really understand what she meant and don't understand her reasoning and are bashing her are either women that don't really understand their self-worth, they don't know their self-worth, or they are not as driven as she is. And another set of people that have a problem with what she said are men that who are not up to her standard and feel like she's being snobbish or one particular kind of way if she doesn't want to date down, if she doesn't want to help them rise. Personally, I agree, like I said, with what she said. Listening to her story, it doesn't make sense for her to date down. It really doesn't make sense. For someone that has been working hard to get to a level since she was 12, she had a vision board. What was I doing with vision board at 12? I don't even know anything. I think at 12, all my mindset there was to just graduate from high school, pass, not fail, go to university and do the course that was programmed in my mind for me to do, and just come out and start thinking of what I want to do. But for her to have a vision board, or for her to know where she wanted to go to, the life that she wanted, and for her to achieve all those things, make sacrifice, and then one guy from nowhere would now come and invalidate her effort, or she should now date down. It doesn't make sense. Now, I have some additional things to say about this. Now, personally, I feel like a woman should not date down, not only in the social economic sense, but also in value, in mindset. Because yes, you might be earning similar to what your partner is earning. Yeah, that means you're not dating down in the socioeconomic sense, but your partner has maybe a poverty mindset. Your partner is not generous. Your partner is not someone that believes in giving to you. He feels like, okay, you have your money, I have my money, let's just do each other's thing, but still be in a relationship. Everybody knows that 50-50 mindset is not for me. So personally, I cannot date someone like that, even if we're in the same socioeconomic status or level. So I feel like value is also important. Another part of value is the fact that you also need to not date someone that has a jealousy, or in Nigeria we say bad belle mindset. And what I mean is, some people, yes, you might be on the same socioeconomic level and the rest, but when he sees that you are succeeding, or you are moving further than him or faster than him, if you are moving up faster than him, that person will be jealous of your success and try to bring you down. You find that he will try to start affecting your mindset, doing things to affect your mindset. Maybe you want to get an education, maybe you want to get another degree or something. If you already have your first degree, he will start saying why, knowing that you getting that second degree or getting a degree might elevate you more in the sense of maybe financial freedom or things. The person will start acting up and try to affect you emotionally, or even try to discourage you so that you don't achieve what you want to achieve. So you need to get a partner, you need to date someone that you're evenly yoked with, someone who values you, someone who is not jealous of you if you move forward, someone who would cheer for you as you are succeeding, and you too, you cheer for the person as he's succeeding. Because some people are terrible. Like, you can be on the same level, you might be even colleagues, earning the same amount, but when you say, oh, I want to take this course or something, there is a problem, because he knows what will happen after you take the course. Or if you want to maybe do a side hustle or something, and the side hustle is now working, the person will now start looking for how to like make you doubt yourself, make you not achieve what you want to achieve, make you not take opportunities that would help you grow faster or help you achieve what you are focused on. So it's not only about checking the social economic level of the person or the standard of the person. You need to check the person's values, you need to check the person's attitude, you need someone that doesn't have a jealous spirit. Now, another thing that some people will say, oh, they like to date up. Personally, and this is my own personal opinion, I don't really want to date up. So maybe get with a millionaire or billionaire or whatever. I don't really want to date up. I want someone on my level or a bit above my level. I want someone who has a generous spirit, because some people have money, have all the financial abilities, but to give to you, to take care of you, to pay for things is a problem. So I don't want someone like that. I also want someone who, like I said, has the same values with me, integrity. Also, if he's a Christian, he has to be not a Christian by mouth, but a Christian in attitude, in works, not just I'm going to church, because there are a lot of devils that are in church. So that's personally my own opinion. I don't really want to date somebody high, because you date somebody high thinking, oh, this person with the social economic level that is high, the person will have sense. Some of them don't have sense. Some of them have a wicked spirit. Some of them have a very terrible spirit. Such person, if they do something for you, they might say, oh, I'm sure you've never had somebody do something like this. And why I say this is because I found out that my male parent actually said something like that to my mother. Like after my mom died, my auntie we were just talking because he's a really terrible person. We were just talking, and my auntie mentioned that he told my mom one time that, oh, that I brought you to sleep on a bed. You had never slept on a bed. You were sleeping on the floor. Now I'm allowing you to sleep on the bed and everything. I was like, wow. So personally, I don't want a case where someone will do something for me and maybe it's the first time I'm experiencing such, and the next thing the person will say, oh, if I was never in your life, you never have experienced this. Which is why I try to do a lot of things for myself. I try to go beyond to do things, and personally I say I don't want my first experience of luxury or something to be given to me by a guy that I'm in a relationship with. It might be a friend that is just being a friend, but a guy that I'm in a relationship with, I don't really want to have that first experience of some luxury lifestyle. So I try to do a lot of things for myself so that nobody will come and tell me it's because of me you got this, it's because of me you are able to do this. Personally, this is my own opinion, but some people don't mind. But me, I don't want that thing, which is why I do a lot of things for some of the younger girls that are around me, like my assistants. I try to buy things that they've not experienced. I try to give them the experience that they might not have had. Recently, I got Arabian perfumes for my girls, so that I don't want one guy to give them one thing and saying, oh, if you are not with me, you won't have that. I want them to have the experience of things without a guy giving them, without the guy trying to ridicule them, and hopefully to inspire them to work hard for themselves. So that is my own opinion about this whole date down, date up. I don't know what you guys think about this whole topic. Do you think Clark, which is the original creator that talked about her not dating down, said anything that is outrageous? Do you think that people really attacking her are just being mean and they just want to like try and tear her down? Do you have an experience dating down or dating up? I would love to hear your own thoughts about this topic. So please leave your comment in the comment section so that we can get this discussion popping. Now, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not yet subscribed and you like videos such as this, please consider subscribe by clicking on the red button that says subscribe. And don't forget to click on the bell notification icon by the side so that you're notified anytime I upload videos. Now, with all that said, thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.